This is spoilers, by the way. It could have been, you could have gave us a little bit more understanding, a little bit more of a taste of why these things were happening. The cliffhanger where Joe, after almost going to jail and getting killed, moves into this beautiful new house, pregnant wife, looks over a fence, and that's
all it took for you to consider to cheat on your woman? That's just a little weird to me, y'all.
I love Candace's character. Candace is one of those actors where you can tell she has meditated her character. I think Love meditated her character. You can tell, like, they really did a lot of studying. I think we could have seen a little bit more emotion on the crazy side. I think he's a lot more put together than a realistic psycho.
I'm just keeping it 100.
What up, Kalima Kam family? I'm your girl Kalima, and you are watching Kalima's Camera, where I help you get it up. Get your edutainment up, get your positivity up, and get your Netflix subscription up, because if you haven't been watching I don't know what you've been watching. I guess you sleeping on Netflix. Netflix watching you while you sleep. This is spoilers, by the way. So if you're not looking for spoilers, if you have not finished this season, I would save this for later. Subscribe, save to watch later, because we gonna be talking for real, talking about you. You guys, You is most certainly one of the best written shows that I have seen on Netflix. The writing was incredible. If you're into psycho thrillers, or psychology-based thrillers, this is such a great show. I'm someone who's really into psychology and really into relationships when it comes to codependency and like seeing the crazy come out of people over love, but like obviously this is like a very dramatic version of that. Season 1 was incredible, definitely left me wanting more. And season 2, I mean, just from jump in, it was incredible. But what I will say, I do wish it was longer. It was only about 7 episodes. I think for your sophomore season, we should get at least like 10, 13, right? I don't know why they cut it short, and it felt very incomplete. It'd be different if it was like 7, perfect, like we got the story, we were left with a cliffhanger that just felt complete, but the ending felt very rushed. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, I felt that the character focus could have been a little bit better. Like, I'm a SAG eligible actress, so I do know a lot about what goes into making a show, making a film, preparing for such a big platform such as Netflix, or preparing for such a big project such as a television show. So you guys actually may have seen me on Atypical finale season 1. Aside from Atypical, I've been doing this for a long time, and so I really do sort of analyze and see things with a different eye than most people. But a lot of things I'm sure you guys notice too. When I think of a psycho killer, even the narration, just Joe's narration, it was a little too perfect.
It's hard to have a fresh start when the past is on your mind.
Like, let me hear the crazy in your voice when you talk about it. You know, I feel like there could have been a little bit more emotion in the way that he narrates the story, instead of really sounding like, sometimes of course he sounded realistic about how he's feeling when he narrates through the show, but sometimes it felt very like script, like just sort of reading through what Joe's mentality was, instead of really becoming this psycho who just can't really, he doesn't even understand himself. He's very confused about his emotions. He's not able to really focus on his life. I mean, come on now, anyone who lives in LA knows that you could not possibly be focused on a person that much and still pay your bills. Like, you are new at this job. Why you ain't never at work? It's just a little weird, you know? But what I will say is that his judgments on Los Angeles was so spot on. Like, the people that you see, the different characters, like 40, there's a lot of 40 type people here. Like, believe it or not, there's a lot of 40 type people here, and they are your best friend, and they're cool as hell, and it was really sad to see him get killed. Ah! was just like, is that realistic? Where she would, okay, it is kind of crazy, right? That she got pregnant and she, you know, is now trying to fight for her relationship, but like it really did start to feel where yes, she wants to protect 40, but she also was kind of in the middle, when what we knew about love in the very beginning was that nothing can touch 40. Everything was about 40. I will leave any man over 40. 40 is why I started being sort of a murderer. Not sort of, but really a murderer from the beginning, because 40 was my prized possession. So it's kind of crazy that like 40 died and it's like, all right, well, moving along, like continuing with this relationship, you know, it's like your own brother wasn't really pleased with your relationship. So like, why did you keep the baby? I don't know, like it's kind of weird, but I get where it's like, no, we really want to continue with this sort of scenario of he finally met his match. He finally met someone just as crazy as him, which he had the audacity to call crazy. How you gonna call love crazy after all the murders that you did? You know, so he finally met his match, and it's like, that's a really cool storyline to see what it's like to actually be in a relationship with someone who's very similar to you. Someone who's maybe just as codependent as you are, where they kind of need you, otherwise if they can't have you, they killing everybody that gets in the way. So that is a really cool story to explore. I feel like you has done such a great job at remaining realistic to an unhealthy mentality of someone who grew up in an abusive lifestyle and childhood, and how it sort of bled into his future. How do you go from protecting yourself and not ratting yourself out and hiding everything and being so calculated and so strategic? You know, Joe is so strategic in the way that he makes sure that he like is very clean, he keeps everything like tied up, and then you fully out yourself about Henderson when you weren't even on the chopping block about Henderson. You like, yes, you were like kind of a thought, but you weren't officially like a suspect yet. So why would you just out yourself to love? That was a little weird. Like, you're gonna admit, okay, you could admit about Delilah because you weren't really sure about Delilah, but you were like, more than likely it was me, so I'm gonna go ahead and claim Delilah. But like, you didn't have to claim Henderson. So it's just like, that wasn't realistic, which kind of gets on my nerves, because it's like, how do you do such well with sort of creating this story, and then you're just like, we're kind of done with Henderson, let's like lazily throw that out. And then like, I do hate that Delilah passed, because it's like, really, you're gonna really leave her little sister by herself? Like, that would have been a cool storyline to keep, you know? And then it's like, they kind of threw away the whole Ellie storyline where, oh, she moved off to New York, and I'm like, that's not realistic either. Like, no, like, what about her, you know, the whole plot of like her making a lot of money, or maybe Love's family could have paid her off, or, you know, taken care of her or something. It was just a little weird. Like, how do you take care of her? You really care about her, and now she's like, well, I guess she went to New York, so we're not worried about her anymore. It's like, all right. Another thing, Beck floating in and out. Like, that's sort of an uncompleted storyline. Like, why was she kind of floating in and out? Like, I understand it was his subconscious bothering him, but there was a reason that we had been waiting to kind of figure out why that is. Also Candace, like, you know, she was so determined to sort of out him, and like, now she gets paid off. She gets paid off to kind of leave it alone, and she kind of gives up. And it's like, I have a feeling Candace is gonna pop back up. I have a feeling Beck is gonna pop back up. I certainly have a feeling that Delilah's gonna be floating in and out, sort of like a ghost, like Beck as well. And that's what I'm saying. I'm sure, don't get me wrong, I definitely think season 3, I feel like they understand these things, and they're gonna make it make sense for season 3. But I just feel like it was just not complete. It could have been, you could have gave us a little bit more understanding, a little bit more of a taste of why these things were happening, and why Candace is like, why even bring Candace in for a determined reason to just kind of like, all right, Candace is out of the picture, go to hell, she says on her last line, and kind of just leaves. I'm like, Candace ain't gonna let you be happy. She's not obsessed with you, but she is just like, she don't trust you. She wants you to be left for dead, just like she was, you know? I love Candace's character. Candace is one of those actors where you can tell she has meditated her character. I think Love meditated her character. You can tell, like, they really did a lot of studying. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Love, whose real name is Victoria, I would bet that this girl really connects to her character, because she just, you know that she has somehow gone through, either she connects with being emotional really well, or she has gone through codependent relationship of some kind, because she was just, you know, you could just tell like she was made for that character. I think that Joe's character is overall good. I don't think it's amazing. I think we could have seen a little bit more emotion on the crazy side. I think he's a lot more put together than a realistic psycho.
I'm just keeping it 100.
I wish I could put my finger on, like, you know, who could really deliver that better. You know, I mean, I would think like a Leonardo DiCaprio, but obviously this is Netflix, so they're not gonna jump in with a huge budget like that. So I don't know, and maybe you guys can comment, like, if you could name one other actor that could, you know, replace Joe, or replace another actor that you felt was like maybe not, you know, as strong of a delivery. And don't get me wrong, I actually think that Joe's character came harder in season 1 than season 2. I felt, I'm gonna keep it 100, for someone who's been on sets, I felt like he felt very safe, where it was like, maybe production was a, you know, kind of like, we just want you to show up. Like, we don't want you to ever quit, because if you quit, the whole show is dead. So like, you know, I feel like he's one of those people that can like be like, I feel like we got the shot, and the producers and directors are like, got it. Like, we just want to keep you happy. That's how I felt. I didn't feel like he was really pulling out that emotion. Like, Love was fighting for that job. You feel me? Like, Love was like, I'm gonna be back next season. Love's character could have possibly been a character that was supposed to die off, but because a delivery is so good, producers and directors will write in, they'll think of ideas, and they'll write in, sometimes live, same day of shooting, be like, honestly, we thought that we were gonna have Love die with the baby. We actually decided, how about we just let 40 die? Like, they will change something completely last minute. It happens. So I feel like he could fight a little bit more in meditating that psycho killer character. I mean, because what he was going through, considering the narrations that he was giving, it seemed like he was a very, you know, confused personality, always sort of, we were going through those waves with him. Or when you listen to his narration, you're fully understanding like the emotions that he's going through. I'm someone who needs to really see that. I'm a visual person in that aspect. Like in the scenes with Ellie where she didn't know that her sister was dead, but he did, there could have been a lot more sadness in his eyes. Like every time he sees her, it's like, I want to tell her so bad, I care about her so bad, but she's not going to be able to handle this. Like, that's really what Joe's character, the way that Joe was written, you could tell he's a person of heart. You know what I'm saying? He actually really loves these people. He feels like the Dexter. He's like the Dexter of LA. He's the Dexter of you know, where he really cares for these people. And I feel like sometimes we would see that, but sometimes it was like, like, I don't really believe you, you know? And then finally, the cliffhanger, where Joe, after almost going to jail and getting killed, moves into this beautiful new house, pregnant wife, looks over a fence, and that's all it took for you to consider to cheat on your woman?
That's just a little weird to me, y'all.
How are you an obsessive, codependent person, and all it takes is you looking over a fence at the back of a woman's hat, reading a book? That was the only temptation that it took? It was just like, it felt very lazy. It felt almost rushed. I honestly wish there was a reason for it, and whatever, maybe, obviously we'll find out in season 3. I'm sure they're gonna get renewed. I just feel like it could have been a completely different cliffhanger, or at least give us a reason why this woman is of interest. And maybe not, like, I love how Beck looks really different from Love. I do wish they would maybe brought in, if he's looking at another woman, maybe have her black, maybe have her Asian, just make her different, where it's like, you know, like, this could be a whole nother storyline because of the cultural difference. Maybe he falls in love with that, you know? What do you guys think? Honestly, do you feel like the ending cliffhanger was a strong cliffhanger? Or do you feel like it was a little, you know, not up to par to the whole season? thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow me at Kalima Kam TV. I love to hear your thoughts. Until next time.